What's going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about the buffs and changes for Squawkabily in my ROM hack, Pokemon Scrambled Scarlet. If you don't know anything about what that is, or you've never heard it before, if this is your first video of mine that you are watching, I highly recommend, well, not only do you subscribe, but also check out the description down below when you're done with this video, or even, put this one on pause and come back to it, because I have a lot of resources linked in the description. Not only is the Google Sheet that you're looking at linked in the description, where you can look at all the other Pokemon and how everything is kind of balanced around itself. You can also check out the Google Sheet, which has all the moves on it. I have a whole, ignore the way that it's awkwardly stretched right now. That's just because of how I'm sharing the screen for the video. But yeah, you can see all this stuff, and you can click them, and it'll take you right there to all these categories on the Google Sheet. Additionally, there's a Discord server with a lot of important resources on it in there. Also, just you can join my community; it's pretty cool. And then there is also a playlist of videos that explain things about Scrambled much more in depth, where you can understand how the hack works better and my philosophy behind it and how things are balanced. And then there is also a a link in the Discord that is a text channel that is kind of explaining in text form more in depth what the game is. So with that, all that being said, Squawkabily, cool little guy, green chain. We fuck with Squawkabily around here, right? We fuck with him. He's cool. He's a funny guy, man. So, yeah, he's got some pretty cool buffs and changes. Intimidate is gone. However, Prankster is unironically better, and it also fits them. And also, in this hack, in all my hacks, I tried very hard to prevent overlap of Pokemon with the same type combination from having the same ability or working the same way. And with 3 abilities, that can be kind of hard to do. But I'm pretty good at it for the most part. I'm very good at it. It takes a lot of effort of planning, but I always end up figuring out things that work. In this case, Prankster also fits his, punk, like cocky type vibes. He's a little shithead, so Prankster fits in very well, and I actually unironically do think it's better than Intimidate with all of the moves that I gave them. I do think it's better than Intimidate on them. And then obviously Guts is still Guts, however, you're not intended to use pre-status. Most of the fights in the game auto heal you anyways, but yes, the intended rule set is don't use pre-status. If you do, obviously it's going to be broken, so don't do that. And it's still very good even without it. He's very fast, and he's got that big boy facade and all that other shit. He's very strong, I stretched the stats about as high as I possibly can see while still hitting the minimum 480 for this hack. Initially I had the plan to be like a weird mixed attacker, like a knockoff Swellow, because Squawkabily's whole thing is like people joke around, like he takes abilities from other flying, normal flying types, like, oh, he has Swallow's Guts, and Staraptor's Intimidate, and Chatot's Move Pool, and all this goofy shit, right? I removed Hustle, even though I do love Hustle, because Hustle's pretty redundant with Guts, and Guts is more interesting, I think, and less limiting. I mean, both are limiting. Honestly, I actually was realizing Hustle is low-key less limiting in this game, because with Wide Lens plus any move, the main benefit of Guts is Facade, right? Because without Facade, I would definitely say Hustle's better than Guts, because Hustle needs an orb, right? And you take damage. Meanwhile, Guts needs an orb. Meanwhile, Hustle needs Wide Lens. So it's pretty like they're pretty equal in that regard, although the downside of the orb is worse than that there's no downside to Wide Lens. Meanwhile, you won't ever miss with Wide Lens in this game because Hustle's buffed, and Wide Lens is buffed. So regardless, though, I ended up picking Guts because of Facade, and it's not like it's bad. It's obviously very good. And then Headstrong. Headstrong is obviously, yes, the Raptor gets Reckless. I know, man, there's not much I can fucking do. Finding out that last slot was so hard, and I could have put Hustle, but that's so redundant with Guts, you know what I mean? And I try to make all 3 ability slots actually complement one another and have use cases over one another. Your main 2 abilities are going to be Guts and Prankster, but there are definitely some cases where the recoil negation from Headstrong is useful, especially because Guts, which is your other damage boosting ability, causes you to take damage from the orb every turn. Obviously, it's not very much if you're running Flame Orb, but it's still, it's still something. And then, of course, you get the recoil moves early on. So you get Double Edge and Brave Bird, 120. Well, Double Edge is 125, and then Brave Bird's 120. And Double Edge and Hyper Beam are stronger. And Giga Impact are all stronger moves than the rest of the other moves like that. For example, Draco Meteor functions like Hyper Beam functions like Draco Meteor now. Again, there's a whole move guide if you're new here. Check that out. There's an entire Google Sheet spreadsheet of all the moves, organizing stuff. But yeah, Hyper Beam and Double Edge are stronger than Draco Meteor and regular recoil moves like Flare Blitz and Brave Bird. So that's that. You've also got 3 coverage recoil moves early on as TMs. So Takedown, Play Rough, and Hell Thrust, all 100 base power, 20% recoil moves. However, you don't take any recoil with with headstrong. So headstrong, it's niche, but it's definitely useful enough. There were a couple other abilities I was considering as well. And who knows, maybe one day I will change it because it isn't the most useful, but it is definitely useful, like for Scarf, Double Edge, getting some kills and not killing yourself, you know. You can maybe kill 3 things with Double Edge because you don't always need that Guts damage boost. You know, 109 attack with high base power moves is plenty strong for a lot of situations. So those are his 3 abilities. Prankster, as you can read, it literally says all the most useful moves. Of course, there are other moves, but the most important ones is Battle Cry. Battle Cry drops attack and special attack by -2. And he gets it very early, so I really wanted to encourage the use of Prankster on him. So he gets that super early, so you switch him in, you know, and he has... Also, another thing I wanted to mention is his HP. In this hack, I try to base HP a little bit more on the size of the Pokemon, and if I was really being really, like, strict with that, I would have dropped his HP and put his defenses up. So it's like 65-ish in all 3. But I wanted him to hit that 480 benchmark, and there was no way I could do that without either wasting points in special attack, unless I did the whole 75 special attack idea, but I ended up scrapping that because it is a little weird. Although it does fit. I mean, he's a parrot, he makes noise. The Pokedex literally says he makes like a lot of noise and shit. And I could have given him like boom bursts and some other cool shit, but it is what it is. And Swellow's also not in the game, so it would have been kind of cute to have him do that. And for those of you who are wondering why not give him Scrappy, Scrappy is absolutely horrible in game. The only use of Scrappy I would really ever say in game for the player, at least in a hack where everything, you know, will have the coverage that it needs to hit those ghost types anyways, would be for Fake Out, for Rhyme. That is literally it. That's it. It's for Fake Out for Rhyme, so that's the only use of Scrappy, really, because it's a double battle, so having that Fake Out would be pretty nice. But that's it. So definitely very niche and not good. Headstrong's definitely better. Yeah, Encore, Battle Cry. I mean, Battle Cry, like I said, great. Encore, Prankster, I don't need to explain why that's good. You also have, you know, 2 immunities with your typing and a good amount of resistances, so despite... And also, like, your bulk with investment is very good. Because the thing is, you can switch between your abilities and your EV spreads and your moves at any point in the game whenever you want. So, you know, one fight, you'll run max HP, max defense, Prankster, and you can run, like, a full utility set with, like, Battle Cry, Parting Shot, Wide Lens, Sing, you know, puts it into sleep, debuff it, Encore it, whatever you want to do. Even Taunt for like preventing opponent taunts on the lead is very good because then you can maybe try setting up with somebody else. Like you can taunt into Parting Shot. That only gives you 1 turn because the taunt will run out, but it's still, you know, 1 turn is still 1 turn. Yeah, 1 turn is really all you need a lot of the time. So that's definitely very useful. Can enable a lot of stuff. Scary Face is also a great debuffing move, dropping attack and special attack by -1, as opposed to Battle Cry's -2. However, Scary Face also drops speed by 2. Keep in mind that all these setup moves and stat dropping moves do have decreased PP for the most part, so that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, it's really about it. I mean, he's got enough coverage. Obviously, you can't really stretch too much coverage. Temper Flare fits very well because the Pokedex literally describes him as hot-headed and he's kind of like an asshole type of bird. So that's good. That's a fire type Wicked Blow. Can't be used 2 times in a row. Same with all the other Wicked Blow clones in this game. So that's very strong. You know, nice 120 base power coverage for fire. You've got Gunk Shot, which you could use with Wide Lens for some poison coverage for some situations. Then Headbutt is good psychic coverage. You know, you've got your Dark, your Fairy, your Fighting. You've got, you know, Steel. I see the Iron Head because they have that tuft of, you know, the pompadour or whatever of their hair. So I figure you can reach Iron Head on there too, let them have some more coverage, especially for earlier on. You know, if you want to hit a rock type early on, you can use like Pummel or Iron Head. You don't always need to run coverage. I mean, it is good, especially with Learner. Coverage is actually so much better than it was in the Sweltering Sun. Like, it's really useful because you can actually switch your fucking move up, but at the end of the day, you have 4 or 5 other Pokemon, you know, so yeah, great support Pokemon with Prankster. Even stuff like Tailwind, you could totally try, like Tailwind into Parting Shot. That only gives you what, though? 2 turns? That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. 2 turns of Tailwind for singles. That's not bad. So, oh, this is looping. Or the music changed, but whatever. That means I need to shut up. Oh well, that was only an 8-minute video. All right, bro, I'll go back then. Alright, yeah, I mean, I've pretty much covered everything I want to talk about anyways, even like Swagger and Flatter. So Swagger and Flatter were rebalanced for, because obviously they're not very useful in game, right? Like, at least in a Nuzlocke context, which is what the game is balanced around, you're never, ever, ever relying on fucking confusion. Like, that is literally the last thing you should rely on, a 1 in 3 chance. Like, no, never. So, they're kind of bad moves in game, right? However, at least in a Nuzlocke context, they're bad. However, I balanced them around the move Topsy-Turvy. So essentially, Swagger and Flatter will give +6 now, and then you can switch into a Topsy-Turvy Mon, which, you know, a decent handful of Mons to get Topsy-Turvy now. If you have one, you can run Swagger and Flatter, and then Topsy-Turvy and reverse the changes. Also, for, like, the very few double battles in the game, like, you could... Oh, I just actually realized just now that Prankster, Swagger, and Flatter in doubles is sick. For, like, Rhyme or some shit, if you wanted to, like, cook. There's, like, 2 or 3 double battles in the whole hack, so it's not very many, but for those couple, or even in the Titan fights, you could even, like, Swagger and Flatter your Arven. Arven's Pokemon versus the Titans, which could be kind of cool to give them +6 for free. Although the confusion risk is there on the Arven's Pokemon. But you know, your own Pokemon, you can run a Person or a Lumberry, and that's cool. But the main use is for Topsy-Turvy, so you can switch in a Topsy-Turvy Mon, and then they get -6 instead of +6, so that's pretty cool. And you can also use that in conjunction with Encore, for example, like Encore into Swagger, into Parting Shot, into Topsy-Turvy. That type of combination can be very good. So, yeah. And as for why I didn't give them Topsy-Turvy themselves, I just don't see it. I mean, like I wish I could, but I try to be pretty good with like making things fit, and it doesn't really make much sense. So, yeah, I think I've covered pretty much everything I want to talk about. There's a couple other cool tools, like Whirlwind for doubles is very nice for those niche doubles. Not to mention it could be used. I mean, it's 1 PP priority, right? So you can use it to cycle the AI out once. It's mostly a good tool for the AI to use against you, though. Yeah, that wide lens thing doesn't miss. Sleep always lasts through 2 turns, so that's a guaranteed consistent strategy. You sleep them, that's 1 turn because you're Prankster, right? If you Prankster sleep them, that's 1 turn. You get 1 free turn the turn after, which you could use the Parting Shot to reposition. And then boom, now you're, you know, or you could use for whatever, really. You can use for Battle Cry. And you also have, I believe, 2 Sing PP, so you can sing them again. So very, very consistent with Wide Lens. Very, very fun move. Yeah, Sky Attack, that's a cool move. That is, it's essentially, I tried to make it like Meteor Beam and Electro Shot, so essentially it gives you +1 attack, and it also gives you +1 accuracy for Hustle and stuff, which this guy doesn't have, but yeah. That's pretty sick, and it always crits. It's like a nuke move, Z move type of move, right? You have to run power for it most of the time. Not always. You could actually use some like Battle Cry, Prankster, Sky Attack bullshit if you really wanted to, but it's 1 PP, so it's mostly meant to be used as like an offensive tool. I think I've covered pretty much everything I want to talk about, so thank you for listening. Terra, obviously, I mean, I don't need to explain Terra in all these videos, man. Terra is good. I don't need to explain why it's good. However, the player is intended to randomize their Terra type once they beat Larry. So depending on the path of the game you're playing, that's when you'll get Terra, and obviously that makes every Pokemon better, and it can either give them 2nd or 3rd stabs, gives them, more importantly, I would say, defensive utility, just, you know, trick the AI basically for free, guaranteed, with Terra. No matter what your Terra type is, you know, it's very good. So, alright, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Let me know, leave a comment down below if you listened this far into the video. Comment green chain or some shit, I don't know. Comment just that you made it this far. Appreciate you. And I'll be back for more. Peace.